Good morning. Welcome. This is Deborah, Stitching Granny of 17. Thank y'all for coming and joining me today. It is February the 18th. It's a Friday. And I want to thank a lot of new subscribers that came from Lori Once Upon a Stitch. Thank you again, Lori, for shouting me out. I want you to go check her out. She's got some adorable large projects that she is about to complete one of them. I forget what the name of it is, but it looked like she'd been stitching on it forever and ever. And she has two beautiful grandchildren. One is 6 months old. Caleb, I believe, is his name, and he's almost 2.5. And they are precious. All I can say is she needs about 15 more. They keep you busy, that's for sure. I'd like to give a few shout outs this morning before I get going. Made by Michelle McGraw. I just love the stand-ups that she does. You need to go check her out. She does a lot of smalls, but sometimes she takes cross stitch that's not intended for stand-ups and makes stand-ups out of them. They actually stand. They have a base that's either round or oval, different shapes, and she makes them into stand-ups, and they're cute. I want to try one of those. And then I want you to go check out Carrie at Tiger Lily Designs. She created a new project bag that has pockets so that you can store your project, store your floss if you bobbinate, and if you don't, there's a zipper compartment. And she sells it in her Etsy shop, and she also gives you a tutorial to go along with it. So go check her out, because a couple of videos ago she showed where her husband had hand-dyed some fabric for her, and he used Kool-Aid, and he used a magnolia leaves. They turned out beautiful. I'm gonna have to try using some Kool-Aid, and I'm gonna have to find a magnolia tree so I can get the brown tinted cloth. And then go check out Chrissy, Finally a Farm Girl. She does lots of samplers. She even does samples for Twin Peak Primitives. I'm not sure if she does it for others or not, but she kind of got me on the bandwagon of Twin Peak Primitives, because when I saw Christmas Morning, I believe it was, with Santa and Mrs. Claus, and I've got that one here, so I'll show it to you in just a little bit. And then I saw where she did Honest Abe, and then there's another one where Mrs. Claus is sitting and she's sewing on a flag, and I believe that's supposed to be Christmas Eve. So, yeah, she does her regular floss tubes on Sunday. So go check her out. She's a sweet young lady. I say young because she's quite a bit younger than I am, and she's trying to get fit. And she's going to be running in a marathon, I believe. So go check her out, and she'll have a new one come out on Sunday. And then, before I forget about the Nashville market, go check out Annabella's. I'm going to insert some pictures here so that you can see what's coming out. I haven't seen that many of these in other floss tubers, so hopefully I'm enticing you with some new stitches that's coming out. Cherry Hill Stitchery, land that I love and the home of the brave. And then Annie D. Donna, I believe is what it is. The Quilting House, and then Seasons. You can turn it into cottage pillows. And then another one is Plum Street Samplers. This is the day. And one I was really anxious about after I saw it. I said, I know for sure I'm going to order this one. It's Silver Creek Samplers, Farmer's Blessing. So go check out Annabella's. And while you're there, here are some of their designs that they've been designing. They sell on PDF, or they sell it by a paper pattern. So they have the St. Patty's Day ones, and then they have some Easter ones. Now we're going to get on with the show. All right, I have several fully finishes. I have a finish, and I have one fully finished that I forgot to show the last time I did a floss tube. And this is the monthly samplers. And I did this on a chalkboard stand that I found at Hobby Lobby. And I just went simple with the bow and then put a little button up there. So this one I didn't do last year. I did this one this year. Lori stitch cards. I've been working on those. I think I showed you a couple that I was working on the last time I did a floss tube. And so I finished stitching some of them and fully finished them also. And here's one, and I'll insert a picture of the stitch card so you'll know which set this comes from. And then my husband took me to Hobby Lobby because I wanted to do some different stuff on the back. And so I have a little butterfly pendant, and I did some beads and just a circle just to be a little bit different. And then this fabric patch, I fused it on with Aleene's Fabric Fusion. So it makes it just a tad bit stiff, but really not that bad. It's on the back of the pillow, so it doesn't really matter. But if you wash the pillow, it's not going to come off. And how I got it to lay down fast, I went ahead and heat set it just a little bit. Just lay another thin cloth on top of it and tap it with the iron, and that way the edges don't come up and it'll dry. So here's the little water pitcher. And then another one I did was the butterfly. And what I did on this one, I put a butterfly button on the back. And how I finished these, I'll show you my first attempt, but I got the cording utensil. So to save money, what I did, I got the flosses from Hobby Lobby, their brand, the Artistry brand. I bought a bag of them because it takes 2 full skeins to be able to do the braid the cording that I really like on the pillows. Because if you only use half of a skein, it comes out pretty thin, and I'll show you what that looks like next. And here is the cording tool, and there's where you can find it. They do have it on Etsy. They have it on Amazon. So if you just look that up, you'll be able to find it. And it's really easy. It's a lot easier than I thought it would. It took me 2 attempts to finally get it right. So here's my first attempt. Let me show you the cording first. It's not as tight. So it's a lot more loose. But I learned with the first one. And here's the other pillow that I finished. And then here's the back on it. And I put a little teeny cap button on there. I made that one just a little bit different. And then I wanted to do one even more different. And so I believe this is the little dollhouse. This one I did the rick rack because I wanted to make it different. And I put a little bow on the top. And then this one, my husband took me to Hobby Lobby so I could find some things to put on the back of the pillows that's different. So I found beads and I found these little keys. So here's the key to the dollhouse. And all I did with the back here is put some rickrack on it. And I went ahead and split the back, sewed it a little bit left a little opening. That way I could sew it all the way around and then turn it. And then kind of whip stitch it, ladder stitch it. It doesn't really matter if you're going to cover it up. You don't have to be that neat with it. And then I showed this one sometime last year. I believe what I'm going to do is take this apart and shorten this, because I think this is a little bit long. It's like 10 inches. It's not bad when it's sitting in the dough bowl because the other pillows can sit over here. But I definitely want this chicken to show. So here is this one, and this is Annie B's. And she did the spring, summer, fall, and winter. Got my little dough bowl all set up. And these are some of the other pillows that I have done. It works. Floss tube I had shown where I had gotten the Hometown Holiday. I started getting the series, and I got that from Happy Little Stitch Shop. I went ahead and did My House. This is by Little House Needleworks. This is what I showed last time in my haul. This is My House by Little House Needleworks. And I haven't put either my name or my house or something right there because I haven't decided if I'm going to turn this into a quilt or if I'm going to do pillow finishes. We shall see. And I went ahead, if you'll notice my last floss tube, Becky had blessed me with some fabric. This is one of those fabrics that she blessed me with. And it is 28 count dirty linen, cashel linen. So thank you again, Becky. And it was a dream to stitch on. And I was taking my own advice. I was thinking, because I'll show you in just a little while why I was thinking that whenever you're stitching something with new fabric that requires a different size needle and a different amount of threads, do it on something small before attempting something large. You may not like using the different amount of threads or a different size needle. So stitch on something small. And if you recall, I had showed in my last floss tube where I want to do Honest Abe, and I want to do it on 28 count. Well, the last experience with 28 count was the Brick House by Brenda Gervais. And I didn't read the directions, and I wound up having to start it over. And rather than messing up again, I started over on 14 count because I didn't read that the model was stitched over 1, not 2. So my piece of fabric, it wasn't large enough. So don't make the same mistake I did. Stitch on something small to see if you really like stitching on that fabric, the amount of threads, and if it's a different size needle. A couple of years ago, I was searching on Pinterest. This is when I got back into cross stitch, and I really didn't have that many patterns. I had a few old ones, but really not that many patterns. So I went searching on Pinterest, and I found this Easter one, and it comes with a little boy. I'm going to stitch him next because on one page you'll see her, but then part of her foot is missing. And it doesn't have grass. I just started doing some grass. I'm planning on filling it in a little bit more because I didn't want them to be standing in the middle of sky. And this fabric is from Michael's, and it was in a little tube, and it was dyed fabric. They had some with pink, and they had the blue with some green and a little bit of yellow in it. It was by DMC. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to stitch the little bunnies on. And this is being stitched on 14 count. I made a tiny bit of progress on the winter in the village. A tiny little progress. I stitched around in this area right here. So I've done a lot of other things, but I didn't do much in this. But I still have a couple of weeks left to this month, so I'll have plenty of time to stitch some more. And this is done on Fabric Flair 14 count denim dyed effects. And I started this one January 1st. I need to get busy. Now this one I made pretty good progress on. And this is Christmas Morning, Santa's Kitchen. This is the one I was telling you that I saw Chrissy at Finally a Farm Girl do. And when I saw it, I knew I had to stitch it. So last time I showed you where I had started the chair. Well, I had to rip it out because it wasn't correct. So I ripped it out and then I did the tablecloth. There's part of the little elf and then Santa holding his cocoa mug, and I started the gingerbread house. That gingerbread house is going to be something. So this has been fun. I need to get busy on the border so I'm not stuck with doing that last. I'm really enjoying Twin Peak Primitives designs, and I'll show you a picture of Kringles because I didn't bring the pattern in here. And this is the progress that I have made. Hopefully you can see it. Let me see if I can get a board. There's a lot of white in this one. And I'm not sure I'm really liking the white. You can see it better in person than what you can on the video. But I have just a little bit left to finish that one. At least that little room. And then I need to get busy on another one if I'm going to get this done by June. This is the one I wanted to talk about. Homestead Harvest. Okay. Y'all know that I haven't been making a lot of progress on it because I really did not like stitching on it. So this was on 22 count. White Aida. So I had to change my needle size to a 26, and then I had to stitch over 1. I don't like stitching over 1. Not right now. Maybe if I did something small and, got used to it a little bit. But when I got up here to the tree, and I had to rip a lot of this tree out, I noticed that right up here, I didn't move. This row needed to come up 3 rows. I'm not ripping all of this out. I've already ripped all this out once, the border. And I said, I'm done. It's not like me to abandon a project. And I've seen other floss tubers say, just start it over. Oh, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of hours that I had in that. I did start it over. And this one is done on 14 count. And it's done on fiddler's cloth. I started it over February the 13th. So I made a lot of progress in that day, just a couple of hours on the next day. And I'm anxious. I'm finally anxious to get back to do this because I'm enjoying it much more. The one thread just didn't give the color saturation to me. So here I am, I'm going back over to the tree, but I'm starting it differently. I'm starting it from the top and going down to the bottom. I went ahead and started in the middle to get myself back over to the tree because I wanted to make sure that Number one, my fabric was large enough, which I did measure and measure twice. But I decided I wanted, extra caution. So I decided to start in the middle and just move my way over. So I am enjoying this now. So Rhonda, you can pick yours back up. I never intended on you to put yours aside just so that I could catch up. But I will catch up. You'll probably finish before me, but that's okay. Next is the Gingerbread Village, and I did a little bit of progress on here, not a whole lot. But I did notice in the last video that the windows weren't showing up very well. So I went back and backstitched the windows. And then I did just this tiny little bit right up here. So that's really not much of a start for Gingerbread House Village number 4. But that's a little bit will go a long way. Now with haul. All right, I went ahead and ordered the rest of the Country Cottage Needleworks Gingerbread House from Fat Quarter Shop. I was getting this once a month, but I just need to get it over and done with. So here's number 5. And then number 6. And number 7. Number 8. And then the train. I'm anxious to do the train. That to me is going to be fun. I still need to get the buttons for number 5 and for the train. And then I'll have all the buttons with there. And the other that I got was the Fall on the Farm. This is number 1. Chart number 1. And I heard that Vanna Pfeiffer has a border, and I need to find where to go look for that. I'll have to check it out because I may just stitch this all in one. Fall is my favorite time of year. This is chart number 2. So I'm anxious to get started on these. I'd like to have it done in time to display this fall. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do it like I did the Farmhouse Village. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it like that one, where I turn it into little blocks and turn it into a quilt. So I need to go check out Vanna Pfeiffer so I can see what her border looks like, and then I can decide before I start on this. And I would like to start this on one of those even weaves that Becky sent me. That would be very pretty. Another piece of haul I forgot to show. And I got my cross stitch magazine. And there is such a glare. And there was one pattern in here that really stuck out that I've got to do. This bunny is adorable. I think that's going to be really cute. I'm going to show a few of my quilting whips that I'm doing right now at the end, because it's going to be a while before I can do a quilting video or a quilty tube. So, but I'm going to read the scripture first, and then we will go right into that. And the scripture that I chose after I thought about this, I wanted to show y'all. And this is a hand-drawn picture of John the Baptist baptizing Jesus. My husband found this in an antique store, and I believe it was somewhere in Georgia. We were traveling to Rome to see our good friends. And so I thought I would share that picture, but then I thought I would share the scripture that goes along with that. And that's Mark 1, 9 through 11. And it came to pass in those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized of John in Jordan. And straightway coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens open and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. And there came a voice from heaven saying, Thou art my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. So there's more to tell in that scripture. So go check it out. That's Mark 1, 9 through 11, but go ahead and read a little bit more. And now on to quilting stuff. Okay, I don't know how many of you are doing the Riley Blake sew along, but I started it. The RBD Challenge, I believe is what it's called. And I had so many blue fabrics, I decided to do a blue-white sampler. And so every one of these are done out of scraps, even the background. I haven't got all of them. I need to catch up on them today, but I also need to work on my vintage housewife. And I'm going to show you an update on it. And then I'm actually going to be doing this RBD challenge in 2 colorways. But here's the other one. I believe I am 2 blocks behind, so I've got to catch that up today. And then I'm doing it just using totally scraps, different colors. Here's the first one that I did. And this is me. I love fall colors. I love bright colors. Bright colors make me happy. And then here's another one. Now, these will have to have sashing in between them so I can make the different colors work. But I thought I'd do this one in pinks because it had a heart. So I don't know if it'll turn out to be, you know, for different months, because I believe there's 12 of them. I could be wrong, but I believe there is. So they're 10-inch blocks finished. So I'm going to put some sashing and make all the colors work. Now to move on to Vintage Housewife. I've got the borders. Now, in Lori Holt's quilt, she had the red as the borders. And I'm doing a minty green with white polka dots. So there's one block. Here's the next one. And here's the next one. And the next one I'm going to show you is the apron. You'll see it here. It's been a fun row, and I did have enough to use the yellow for the trim. Here's the last row, and that is the laundry row. And I will still have to do the clothespins on it. I will do that before I join that row onto the quilt top. Next, I have to add the other border, and I'll show a picture of it right here. That's the same border that's around the apron. And then I'm in the process of cutting up all those 2.5-inch squares. There is a gazillion of them. Oh, will I ever get them finished? I only have maybe 3 weeks to get this quilt finished, quilted, bound, and ready to give my granddaughter for her birthday. So, yeah, Lord willing, it'll get done. I want to thank y'all for joining me today. I want to thank y'all for subscribing and hitting the like button and hitting that bell so you get notified. We're almost at 1,000. I do have a couple of giveaways besides the project bag that I'm in the process of making. So more about that in the next floss tube. God bless.